Hello, friends, and welcome into Seattle Seahawks Today, presented by Manscaped. When you head over to manscaped.com and you use promo code Seahawks at checkout, you will save 20% and get free shipping on all their fantastic men's grooming products. Today's video is all about some potential free agent targets Seattle could go out and sign if they so choose. Now, Seattle only had 3 draft picks this year. They moved down, then moved back up, and stuck with the 3 they had originally in the end, but just at different spots there. Right now, this organization, this team, is built, and I believe committed, to trying to win with Russell Wilson. And I do believe there are some notable free agents out there who could help Seattle do that. Now, before we dive into the list of players, there's quite a few here. We got a lot of new subscribers here at Seattle Seahawks Today. So if you are new, welcome. And if you are new, I want you guys to head down to the comment section and type me, and everyone who's already subscribed, and of course myself as well, can congratulate you for joining us here and thank you for joining us here at Seattle Seahawks Today. Let's begin with KJ Wright. You guys knew he was going to be on this list, right? Look, as we've mentioned many a time on this show, I do think there is the possibility of a Wright reunion in Seattle if the price is correct. Yeah, he thought I was going to make that joke. I didn't. The door is open for a return here in Seattle, but it has to come at the correct cost. And KJ Wright, I thought was going to get signed pretty quickly for a pretty good contract. That is not what has happened, and I wonder if the NFL is not making the caliber of offer that Wright had expected. He is coming off a very good season in Seattle. Like a really good year. 10 pass breakups, 11 tackles for loss. There's a lot of teams out there that should be all over this level of production. Now, for Seattle, it's not as simple as just bringing back KJ Wright. They want to give Jordan Brooks more run. They want to make him a starting linebacker, as I think they should. But beyond him, the depth is Cody Barton, Ben Burkervin, a couple undrafted guys. Who knows if Alden Smith ends up doing anything here when it's all said and done after his latest issues. So if it's cheap enough, I say yes, bring back KJ Wright. Get your votes in for me, though. You guys watch him in the comment section. Type Y for yes, you want to bring back KJ Wright, or type in N for no, you do not. Get your votes in right now. Let's look at some more linebackers here. I got 2 more players I want to get to. Another familiar face, Shaquem Griffin. Remember, Seattle did not tender him as a restricted free agent, and there were whispers, hey, maybe he could go join his teammate in Jacksonville, or his brother, and be teammates once again, the Twins. But I think there is a possibility that Shaquem Griffin returns to Seattle here and gets to fight for one of those backup linebacker special team spots at that quote-unquote Sam linebacker role. I think Griffin could be a fit there if he wants to come back. A big name I also wanted to mention here, Quan Alexander, who talent-wise would be a great addition. The issue here is medical. A torn Achilles he suffered in December. I don't know if he's going to be ready to start the 2021 season. Because of that, because of all the injuries, he might have to wait a little bit, but if you want a guy who could legitimately start, in case maybe you're worried about Jordan Brooks, I think Alexander is the name to keep an eye out for. Now, we got more players to get to here in just a little bit. Before we get any further, I want you guys to head down to the comment section and let me know on the pinned comment on today's video who you want Seattle to sign. If you get the ad break here on YouTube, take advantage, scroll on down, and let me know. Another name we've mentioned before here on Seattle Seahawks Today is Sheldon Richardson. As you guys should know, the Browns cut him after they signed Jadeveon Clowney. They added 2 defensive tackles, one via the draft, one via undrafted free agency. He can still be a starting quality defensive tackle. And in a way, this is a reunion for Sheldon Richardson and Seattle, given that he did once spend a season as a member of Seattle. The guy we saw in 2020 was better than the player the Seahawks ended up getting in 1 year that frankly did not go the way I think either party was really hoping it was going to go down in the end. But Richardson, of the defensive tackles left out there, I think is the best one. And when you look at what Seattle has on their depth chart right now, Poona Ford, Brian Monet, Al Woods, Cedric Latimer, they got some defensive end, defensive tackle hybrids in LJ Collier and Rasheem Green. I don't know if Robert Nkemdiche is ever going to be anything in the NFL with all his issues. But maybe Richardson could come in and be an actual starter for this team if they don't trust Collier or Green to be a full-time starting defensive tackle. Another big name, Geno Atkins, who barely played for the Bengals this past year. I mean, we're talking like next to no impact at all. He has to take a cheap prove-it deal. But if you want a veteran value option who does bring you some pass rush juice, I would kick the tires on Geno Atkins. Jarrell Casey fills a similar mold of player here, coming off an injury, just 3 games in 2020 because he tore his biceps. At this point in his NFL career, I kind of believe Jarrell Casey is a declining player. I think we've seen him at his peak, and it's only going to go down or flatline from this point. Still, among the defensive tackles out there, which I guess you can throw Antoine Woods in that mix now if you want to, I think Casey is one of the best options out there. As mentioned, today's presenting sponsor is Manscaped. Make sure your Seahawk is nice and trimmed by heading over to manscaped.com and using promo code Seahawks right there, bottom of your screen. Get the Lawnmower 3.0. It's the #1 men's grooming tool out there. You can use it in the shower. It's not going to cut you. It's not going to get jammed or tug or make you bleed. It's the best one out there. Very safe, very easy to use. I was talking to one of my coworkers here at Chat Sports, and it was not the coworker. One of a DM he got said, "Is it better than using scissors?" Yes. Please do not use scissors. Instead, use the Lawnmower 3.0. You can also get some extra goodies by getting the perfect package. Comes with the most comfortable boxers known to man, some ball toner, ball conditioner, a handy traveling case as well. I'll put that link in the comment section and the promo code as well, plus in the description. It's manscaped.com, promo code Seahawks. Let's get to Malik Hooker, who looks through some safety options here. He's talented. The Cowboys brought him in for a visit. They did not sign him. The Dolphins also had him in for a visit. I think that the concern here around Malik Hooker is the medical. Coming off a torn Achilles in 2020, has missed tons of time in the past 4 years. When healthy, he's shown legit, rangy, free safety ability. He has the range that, even though I love Quandre Diggs, I think Hooker at his best, his range is better. Now, Diggs is a better player, obviously, but purely from a range perspective, Hooker brings it in spades plus playmaking. And although Marquise Blair, Nugo Amadi, and even DJ Reed can all play some safety, the pure safeties right now on this roster are profoundly thin. It's Jamal Adams, Quandre Diggs, and Ryan Neal since they moved Demarius Randall over to corner as well. So if they want another pure safety option, I think Malik Hooker would be a strong fit. I think Trey Boston could also work for Seattle. He's been a starting free safety in the NFL. The potential biggest issue here is I think Trey Boston deep down would like to be a starter somewhere. Now, at this point in the NFL offseason, that's a lot easier said than done. But if he wants to start or at least get some rotation playing time, Seattle's in the market for just a pure backup. I don't know if Boston wants that at this point. Kenny Vaccaro next up here, who has kind of done a bit of both safety roles. Some deep free safety, some closer to the line strong safety. If he's your number 3 guy, which I think he would be over Ryan Neal, who I do like, by the way, he showed some promise as a really truly first-year player last season, I would be interested in Kenny Vaccaro. But again, much like Trey Boston, is he willing to be a backup? If not, maybe you go look at somebody like a Jeff Heath, for example. If Seattle makes a move, we'll let you guys know, because we here at Seattle Seahawks Today are trying to give you guys as many videos as humanly possible. And the more subscribers that we get, the easier it is for us to do that. So if you haven't already, hit that big red button and join us. If you're watching somewhere else, it's youtube.com/SeahawksTV. Let's go to the offense here. We won't spend too much time because, as it turns out, I think defense is where this team is looking. Running back, quarterback, tight end, receiver, those aren't needs. Tackle's in great shape. But center could still be upgraded. Austin Ryder was the Chiefs starting center in 2020. Ethan Posick is back. He re-signed a 1-year deal. They brought in the Canadian Pierre Lestage. He's in there as a maybe makes the roster, maybe does not. Phil Haynes is back as a backup interior lineman. Jamarco Jones can do some of that as well. But if you want someone to push Posick, and maybe be an upgrade over Ethan Posick at center. I think Austin Ryder makes a lot of sense. I'm a little bit surprised no one's picked him up, so we will have to see what ends up happening with him, but I would at least explore some more center options if I were Seattle. I wasn't going to do edge rushers on this list, and I'm like, okay, they signed Aldon Smith, they're good. And then Aldon unfortunately got into some more legal trouble. So as we wait for that to play out, maybe a name like Melvin Ingram would make some sense. Just 7 games this past year, 0 sacks in his age 31 season, but he fits the scheme. We know that. He played under Gus Bradley the last few years in LA, so the scheme is a fit. You don't have to panic here, though. At the edge rusher spot, Seattle is okay. Carlos Dunlap, Benson Mayowa, Kerry Hyder. That's a really strong 1-2-3 versus what Seattle's had the previous few seasons. Darrell Taylor, hoping to get something out of him. Alton Robinson flashed a little bit. We'll see about Aldon Smith, as I mentioned. L.J. Collier, Rasheem Green, defensive end, defensive tackle hybrids there. Also add some depth. We have talked about Ryan Kerrigan at this point for months on this channel because around the NFL trade deadline, he and Carlos Dunlap and Aldon Smith were all names we mentioned. Now, he's the only one who hasn't become a Seahawk since we brought him up way back when before the NFL trade deadline. Very long career, tons of production. However, his production has dipped the past 2 seasons. Now, there is a partial explanation for that. Namely, he's got Chase Young and Montez Sweat also on his team, but even if he can give you 5.5 sacks and let's say a number 3, number 4 edge rusher role, if maybe you're worried about Darrell Taylor's injuries, yes, I would explore bringing in Ryan Kerrigan. But you don't have to. Even with Aldon Smith's off the field trouble, I don't think edge is that big of a need as we sit. Now, speaking of needs, I want to hear from you guys here. What do you believe is the biggest need left for Seattle? Is it center? Is it something on the defensive side of the ball? Get your votes in for me in the comments section. All right, one more player I wanted to get into here, Richard Sherman, who, how can we not, right? He said he's spoken with the Seahawks. Pete Carroll made it seem like it wasn't going to happen in the end. He should sign at some point in the near future with the NFL draft now over. In the end, as it relates to cornerbacks, kind of feel like Seattle is in a pretty good spot on that front. You look at their depth chart, right? Akello Witherspoon, DJ Reed, Marquise Blair / Ugo Amadi is kind of your nickel safety hybrids there. Pierre Desir, Trey Flowers, 4th-round rookie Trey Brown, Demarius Randall maybe competing for a role. That's 8 guys. So even if you were to bring in a Richard Sherman of some type, you would have to find a way to make a move somewhere else. So if it's super cheap, okay. But in the end, I think corner's a bit unlikely given all the moves this team has already made. That does it for us today, folks. If you haven't already, please do me a favor, hit that big red button and subscribe.